Great in. Guys and girls, good afternoon, good evening, good morning. Hope you're all well. And again, welcome to another Sunday session, Trading with a Trader, as we do every single week on a Sunday evening, 7:30 p.m. UK time, 8:30 for those of us over in beautiful Spain. We're going to go live, going to jump into the market, show you a breakdown of last week's charts and how you guys can take advantage of this as well. So last week, we sent 98 fucking trades. I'm going to get pinged on that for YouTube for having a swear word within the first couple of minutes, but 98 trades, 90 of them winning with a win rate of 92%. I just want to see some comments in the chat as to what you think about that. How was your week? How were your results? Because I know what my account was like last week. I took some nice profits. But this is the thing. Every single week we're going to deliver insane value. I want you guys to learn about your mindset. I want you to grow as a person. We want you to become the best possible trader because what's the point in having all of this money that you're about to acquire, all of this knowledge that you're about to acquire and not know how to become the best version of you? So a lot of you in the chat are excited, you're growing, your accounts are growing. And even if you're not, even if you're taking some L's along the way, whilst you're getting, you can start to see like someone there says 28.74% growth is insane. First week trading, finished in profit, best week ever. Best day was Friday, made my first £50 day. This is the type of stuff that we need in the trading results. Because if you guys understand that in this process, when you're feeling good, you're feeling energized, you're feeling like optimal, if you will. Those of you writing a first £100 day, withdrew 6K in profits, was 12% down on Monday, made it back on Friday. I was up percentage wise, 2K profit first day. Sick, right? This is the type of stuff that we need to be seeing day in, day out, day in, day out, day in, day out. Obviously, past profits cannot guarantee future results. But, we're here to train you to the best of the ability, to get you to become absolute snipers within the market. And that's ultimately what we're here to do. So I can see Big Matthew's here, ready to go. Head has been cleanly shaven for tonight's call. He's got the glasses on, ready to go. I can allow it so that you can. I forgot to unmute yourself, and I forgot
That
to.
would help. Yeah, I can actually talk now.
There we go. We'll let him off his leash, guys, because drop some fire in the chat because last week was fucking sick. I know he don't need no smoke blowing up his ass or anything like that, but listen, the results that we are seeing with inside the community, this call should have 2,500 people on it. Never mind 250, but that's a long-term plan for the next 6 months. So, my friend, I'll let you jump into a screen share, but I appreciate every single one of you tuning in, jumping in. Matthew's going to smash out the charts and show you how much we're going to pillage the markets in the coming week.
Good evening, everyone. Before I share the screen, I just want to take a moment, as I already did on Saturday, just to thank everyone for dropping those results in as requested. It makes a massive difference to us to be able to help build the community. And I know I say this a lot, and it's probably quite cliche for a lot of you too. I don't do this for the money. I do this for really wanting to build the biggest community on the internet. That is my goal over the short and long term, is to build the most successful trading community on the planet, and I really do mean that with all of my heart. So it really does make a world of difference. To me, it means a lot to me, and it helps us grow the business. So I can't thank you enough for those that jumped on it and responded to that message. And if you guys can just keep doing it as a daily chore, if you like, that would be really appreciated. The second thing I just want to say very quickly before I move on to some of the entry models. At this point of having a really successful week, it's probably one of the weakest points for you to start losing. Right now, as a trader, my best day up until a certain point. So in my first 6 months, my best day was £77,000. My worst day to that point was followed the very next day. I lost 35K. So the point I'm trying to make is that let's stay consistent. Whatever you did this week, let's not over leverage now. Let's not get greedy. If you've gained a lot of equity, yes, of course, you can increase your lot size slightly, but let's not change anything. Just because we're winning, we need to remain consistent. We cannot now just be like, Matthew's unstoppable, he's invincible, you know. We have to remain consistent and patient and continue to do what we did last week to replicate the results that we did next week. So now I've got that out of the way, I'm just going to share my screen and we'll jump into a little bit of the entry model. Obviously, Bradley, I've just sent you a request.
Yeah, it's done, bro.
Cool. Right then, let's make sure we're on the right. There we go. Right, as always, I'm going to go over some of the key basics that I just want you to bear in mind every week. And that's the trading discipline, right? Now, this system works if you remain disciplined, right? Discipline, patience, and consistency are the core of everything we do. Doesn't matter how good the strategy is. And as you can see from the results, it's extremely successful, but that doesn't work unless you work it. Okay, so we have to remain consistent with all of the below things that I'm about to talk about. The first one being following the same structured process for entering and manage the trade every single time. That means the same lot size, the same strategy that you entered and exit the market. Despite what your emotions tell you, despite what your mate says, oh, actually gold's going up and we're saying to sell, despite what your mind might tell you because you're looking at your MT4 for too long, we enter and exit the market with the same consistency that we do every single time. I want you to always remember to respect the validity of every setup. And what that means is that whilst we relinquish responsibility at TP1, if price then returns or for any reason, like the videos that I've sent you where the 1 minute candle hits TP1, if price returns and it hasn't hit TP2 or stop loss, the validity of that trade is still valid. When a stop loss does get hit, and we will hit them, it is not failure. It is information for us. It's actually a help. It's a friend of ours in the market that we use to protect our capital. It's like wearing a seatbelt in a car, right? You don't wait for the crash to happen. What we do when we set a stop loss is we are essentially saying, I'm willing to lose this amount of money before I can find out whether the market's going to move in my direction. When you trade forex, it's not about being wrong or right. It's about being on the right side of probability. And sometimes we aren't going to be on the right side of probability because we aren't aligned with the banks and the institutions on that particular order. And therefore, we don't want to be a part of that order anyway. So it's all good if we hit stop loss. It's actually a benefit to us. It's like a red light telling us stop. We don't want to be in the market. I need you to maintain consistent position sizing week after week. Do not change it day after day. Week after week is fine. Obviously, the position sizing you choose is completely your choice based off of your own risk management profile. We cannot advise you on that, but you need to maintain consistency in your lot sizing. The two reasons for that are, let's say, for example, you have 10 back-to-back wins, which we regularly do, and then you increase your lot size because you're getting a bit brave and you feel super confident in the strategy, and then we hit a 40, 50 pip stop loss, you wipe out all of your gains because you've increased your lot size on that last trade. Equally, if you then hit a stop loss after a few trades, you decide to lower your lot size, it's then going to take you much longer to make that equity back. This system works, remember, if we're consistent in our program. The next thing I want you to always do is layer in interval levels. Now, I'm going to go through two sort of levels of entry today. One's going to be for the beginner, which is what I recommend all of you do if you're new. And then the second one's going to be for the more advanced traders. It's how I trade. It's how the group is updated. And we'll talk about that a little bit more in a second. And then the last thing I want you to pay attention to is this position management guidance, right? Now, all of the updates that we add in the group, sometimes they're heavy, sometimes they're not. It depends on market movements. All they are is information for you to make an intelligent, informed decision, or sometimes maybe not intelligent, but informed at least. It's for you to make an informed decision on how you want to continue to manage that trade, okay? This is all I can do is give you real-time information. And please remember that I'm sat at these screens for sometimes 10, 12 hours a day. I see everything in intricate detail. Sometimes by the time that information's been relayed, it's not relevant anymore. Obviously, just ignore it if it's not. Right, so with all that boring jargon out of the way, let's have a look at I don't know why that won't let me delete that. Right, let's have a look at let's get all the faces out of the way. Let's have a look at our entry model using the replay function on TradingView from a beginner's point of view to start with. So let's start from this bit. We'll do this one here. Right.
Sorry, bro. Someone jumped in and let me. You can share screen again, mate. Sorry.
All right, 1 minute.
My bad.
Right, all good?
There you go, mate. You're good.
Perfect. Okay, so what you have in front of you is gold on the 5-minute time frame. This is one of the time frames I use to build up our executions. Here is one of my buy zones. Let's not get caught up on why it's a buy zone. All I want you to concentrate on is that it's a buy zone. Now, as you can see, price is traded above my buy zone. I'm waiting for price to return back to it. And at this point, this would be where I am sending the signal at buy at 3371 to 3367. Don't know why that. Can you see that flashing, mate? I don't know what that is.
No.
No? What the hell?
No, not sure.
Hang on a minute. What?
What's it doing?
I don't know. Someone's trying to access my computer, apparently. Right. Anyway, so as you can see in front of you, the price has come down to where I want to start entering the market. I am sending a signal at 3371 to 3367. What you're going to do is you're going to get out your phone, MT4, MT5, and you're going to check to make sure that the first 4 digits match this entry price by 10 pips. So if it's 3371 to 3372, you can enter the market. Or below, of course, because that means you get a better entry than me. What you're going to do is you're going to check to make... I was doing it again. Sorry, guys. Give me a second. I don't know what is going on.
No, it's all right, mate. I've just got dickheads in here. 1 second.
It says someone's trying to... Can you not see that on your screen there?
It's all right. Don't worry. Just keep going, bro. There's retarget.
Yeah,
someone shared the link with someone. It's
there's a black box that keeps coming up on my screen. 1 minute. Let me see if... 1 minute. Sorry, guys. Just bear with me 1 minute.
Yeah, I've already kicked them, guys. Don't worry. No more people allowed in now, so all good.
Remote control of my computer. Right.
Everything's good on our side. It's just because someone's trying to share the screen while you're doing it. That's all.
Right, yeah, because I don't know if you can see what I can see, but on my screen I just keep getting a black box, so I can't.
Yeah. So basically, someone's spamming the chat and the thing. But you're good now. I've made it so no one else can jump on. So you're good to go.
All right, let's try again now. Right, we'll start again. You get your MT4, you get your MT5 out, and you enter at 3371, so long as it matches the first 4 digits up to 10 pips. Then we'll wait to see if price comes back into our better entry. And if it layers into our zone correctly, that's going to be way too slow. Choose 3. Right. Okay, as you can see, price has come right to our 50%, as most of the time it does. So if you're a beginner, you are now going to be in 2 positions in the market. You're going to be in at 3371, and you're going to be at 3367. Sorry, 3367. Right, as you can see here. Now, what we're going to do is as soon as price moves above here into an area where our worst entry, and by the way, we only refer to it as our worst entry because we now have a better position. There's nothing actually wrong with it. As a beginner, this is the most risk-averse way to trade. We no longer want to be in 2 trades. We only want to be in 1 because it's far easier to learn how to manage these trades with 1. I want you to close this one off as soon as it's in profit or at break even. As soon as it goes into a little bit into blue, we take it out. And then what we're going to do is we're going to leave this best entry to run to whatever take profit level you're comfortable with, that whether that's 1, take partials of 2, 3, and so on and so on. The 2 reasons we do this is because the first instance is because this one is now at least 30 to 40 pips in profit more than the initial entry. And also, if we do then somehow reverse for some reason and hits our stop loss, it's like 20, 30 pips. All right. So we always only ever want the best entry running because we never know how deep into this zone it's going to go. Sometimes it will tap the open, sometimes it will go to 30%, most of the time 50, but not always. So this first entry is just to guarantee we don't miss the move. The second entry is to ensure that we're in a better position. As soon as price comes to this the range of the first entry, we're going to close it out at break even. So let me just show you another one of those, and then we'll look at maybe a more advanced version. So again, going to use the replay function. So I've drawn out my buy zone on 5-minute time frame. This is my buy zone. I'm now just waiting for price to come to the open or the 50%. Play it out and see how it goes. As you can see, it came in immediately. Went a bit too quick for us, but obviously in real time, we would have caught this entry, sending you a buy signal at 3386. And then what you would do is price came in, you would set a buy limit or you would watch on your phone, whatever you feel most comfortable with. If you're a beginner, then you just enter again at 3383. As soon as price action comes back and it taps your opening position in blue or a small profit, we are closing it off. It's no longer serving us. All it's doing is now increasing our risk because remember, we don't really know how to manage trades effectively as a beginner. All we want to do is concentrate on that one best level. And as soon as the original entry comes into profit, I want you to be closing it off. And then you can allow the trade to run to whatever take profit level that you feel comfortable with. Right, so that's the entry model for a lot of you. It's not all of you, but most of you will just be using the 2 entry model. Now I'm just going to look very quickly at a entry model for the more advanced traders and how I want you to manage the trades if you're going to be fully layering. And just to reiterate, this is how the group is updated. I'm not going to use the replay function on this one because it moves so quickly that we won't be able to sort of stop and start through the zone. So what I'm just going to do, we're just going to set up the trades like they were there, right? So 3386. We'll dot that one out. 3385. Another one. 3384. Go and then 3383. Right. So for the more advanced of you, when I send the buy signal at 3386, you're going to open your phone, your MT4, you're going to make sure the first 4 digits match, of course, or within 10 pips. And of course, if it's below this digit, obviously get in. It means you've got a better entry than I did. Then what you're going to do is you're going to set the buy limits up, or you're going to wait for it to come into the 3385, 3384, 3383 area, whatever you feel more comfortable with. And as you can see in this instance, excuse me, you can see that price has activated all of our zones bar 1. Now, we always like to go 10 pips below the 50% because there are instances like this one, you can see it went a little bit below. Or if you look, I thought I had another one. 1 minute. Don't I have another one? Yeah, this one. You can see in this one, it went a little bit low the 50%. So sometimes we give it a bit of leeway for a little institutional liquidity sweep. In this instance, it layered 3 out of the 4 layers that we wanted. Now, what we're going to do when we trade with fully layering is as the best entry has been activated here, as soon as the next best entry comes into profit, we are going to close that one off, okay? We are not going to wait until all of the zones have been coming into blue, right? We're going to have the best entry running, and then as soon as the second best entry is in profit, we're also going to close that one. Again, this is the most risk-averse way to trade with fully layering. It's how I trade at the moment, trading the account I'm trading. It's how the group is updated. If you want to hold the trade and you like a bit more risk, you can hold it to TP1, 2, or 3. But this is how I would advise you to trade. The reason why we closed off this trade as soon as it's in blue and we don't wait for this trade to be coming in blue is that if we now reverse from this point and hit a stop loss, we're only hitting a stop loss on 2 positions. We do not need to wait for all of the entries to be blue before closing them out. Close them out as the price comes into them and knocks them into profit or break even. If price was to reverse and hit our stop loss down here, I will still be registering it as worst case scenario, and I will register the stop loss from this point, not this point. So when we update it, it is always from best case scenario that was possible for you to be in and out of the market. And this one did reverse. Let's say, for example, we would always say the stop loss from here to ensure that you know that you're not doing anything wrong. The same strategy remains. When the initial first now worst entry comes in, again, I advise you to remove that. And again, you can allow the best entry to then run to whatever take profit level that you feel comfortable with. That's it, really. I think, unless anyone wants me to go over it again, or if there's any questions that anyone's got, or do you want me to show another zone, fully layered or unlayered, let me know in the chat. And
I think it'd be good to show another area, maybe look at a sell if there's any
okay,
sell.
yeah, 1 minute. Let me close all of these off. Let's have a look at a sell. There's one right there. See how quickly I can find a position now, eh? Look, there are. Let me just draw it all out properly so I know what I'm looking at. Red. Right. So this is an interesting one, actually. No, you just said that. So this one is a sell zone. Sorry, a second. We've got a sell zone in front of us again on the 5 minute time frame. Don't worry about why it's a sell zone. Just know that it is a sell zone. And what we're going to do is we're going to use the replay function again. We're going to play it back. And on this one, it's interesting because we're only going to get the open on this one. So this one would be a sell signal at 3395. This is a really good example to show you how powerful this stuff is. So 3395, then we would have had limits at 3396, 3397, etc., etc., etc. But obviously none of those were activated. So in this instance, you're only going to have your worst entry. Your worst entry is now your best entry in this one. Obviously, the sell signal came in, sell at 3395, open up your MT4, MT5 at this point, and obviously it only activated 3395. And as you can see, look, this stuff doesn't lie. You see how it's just tapped in to the wick of this candle here, the one that caused the push up. Then obviously it's moved off in the downwards direction, which is perfect for us. Obviously, you can then just allow whichever position, sorry, that position to run to whatever take profit level that you're comfortable with. Now, actually, this has just come back up. It brings a really good point up. So let's play this across here. So this trade would have gone to TP2. Once this trade has come to TP2, I want you to delete the zones, right? What I don't want people want happening is it come into TP2 and then it coming back. Those zones still been there and the trade's not valid anymore because remember it's valid to TP2 and then price could potentially just turn around. The likelihood is it will just drop again from here because it wanted to mitigate more of these positions. But it's really important that once a trade has hit TP2, we're removing those old buy or sell limits because remember the setup's no longer valid. And if it goes back to the zone and it is valid, obviously I'll recall it again. That's it from me, chap, I think, unless there's anything else anyone wants me to show.
No, I think it's good for people to understand and just see how consistent this is on a day by day, week by week, month by month basis, because it's the same thing. And a lot of people, they're confusing themselves a little bit with how they should enter, what they should do, yada, yada, yada. But if you just follow what gets put into the group, this is, I mean, I don't want to say trading for dummies, but we're trying to remove as much of this for you as you can so that you don't have to worry or think about anything. If you want to drop a screen share a second, bro.
Yes.
Like the key with this, guys, is that this is all done. Matthew sits at his screen all day, every day, so you don't have to. A lot of you wanting to know, about should I be doing this and should I be doing that? Can you tell us what candlesticks to look for? No, because what's going to happen is you're going to sit and end up spending your time on a chart. You're going to be the one watching the chart, which is not what the group's designed for. Again, if you want to understand and look for these, for example, there's no problem with that. Like again, Matthew puts the breakdown in every single day. So you could, if you wanted to, go and replicate that breakdown on TradingView. For me personally, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be the person sitting there on a chart all day, every day. Matthew loves it. And it's his passion is helping and growing and scaling this. So if you understand that if you can just follow when this is, yes, He might say trade at break even, get out now. You might have entered 17 pips late or 6 pips late, and you might have to close that at a loss, right? So you have to make that decision. Are you okay with losing 60 pence, £6, 60 quid if you're trading with higher lot sizes? Like you have to make that decision, and I always say as a grown man or adult or woman to, are you happy doing that? So for me, I had to also get to a point where I was comfortable taking losses, because you can't hold every trade. No stop
Yeah.
loss. You can, but you've got to have a good liquid and a good emotional ability for that, if you will. So there's a lot of questions coming in the chat about the same things that we speak about week in, week out. But yeah, man, is there anything you want to cover or touch on
Yeah,
before?
I'll just look for a few. Might as well one of here. So the first thing that I can see evidently, so if if it hits stop loss at 3367, you mentioned 10 stop loss, but you came out of your first entry earlier. Yes. So what will happen when I quote a 10 pip stop loss if we've got a 30 pip stop loss is that at some point our bet the next best entry was activated and my first entry was then off. So now it was 10 pips down. Then it comes another 10 pips down and take the next one out, comes 10 pips down and slowly worked its way down to stop loss. So whatever I quote is the reality and the truth in what the market did. Maybe not what you saw, but remember, I'm watching this like an absolute hawk day in, day out with a microscope. And I see things other people don't see. So this is just bread and butter for me. It's so basic to keep track of. So when I update whatever the trade is, know that it's the truth basically, because I'm not going to lie about it. I couldn't give a damn about stop losses. I honestly do not care about the stats because the stats, they will work themselves out. And win rate is actually not important.
No.
In forex, you need a 50 to 60% win rate. It depends on your RR. Now, RRR is 90 to okay, maybe 70 to 90 times larger than any other group out there. Most groups will you deliver either a negative RR or a 1 to 2 RR, which means $1 risk to $2 gain. Last week we did $1 risk to 93 or $83 gain. That's just astronomical. Just no one's doing that. So it doesn't matter about a 20 pip stop loss, a 50 pip stop loss here and there because our RRs are so big and our stop losses in acquaintance to what we win are just tiny.
And I think a big thing to look at here is, we've never really covered the runners on these calls and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
But a big thing to look at here is what you're comfortable with, because we can tell you that the runner's going to be 3, 4, 500 pips and you could catch every pip. But the truth of the matter is you've got to get to a point where you're comfortable with your amount of money. And what you will see when you confidently, do this over and over again, you're in the calls week in, week out, you're seeing the trades week in, week out, you will eventually get to a point where you're like, right, when he calls out that target, it typically hits. So this one, I'm going to try it. This one, I'm going to let it run. This one, I'm going to, I'm not going to, hold it too tight on the stop loss so it taps you out, as a lot of us are getting tested with, and then it runs 6 million pips and you're thinking, wow, okay, I missed that one. But the more that you can build your confidence in this is all this is designed for. Because some of you are asking, I've got private messages like, why does he not train in more in depth? Don't need it.
No, I mean, sorry to jump in there. I just want to add something there, right? If I could join this group 2 years ago and have a trader like me doing all the shit, losing all the money I had to lose to learn how I learn, and the hours that I put into this. When I started trading, I was in a very unique financial situation. I just sold my biggest gym and decided to give it a whole go. I spent a year of 18 hours a day, tears, blood, sweat. I broke probably 3 desks, smashed probably 4 phones, and now I don't care about any of it. If someone could remove all of that and I could plug it into a group like this and I could just trade off of the signals, yes, please. I would not sit at my desk. I'd be in a beach somewhere in the Bahamas just going buy and sell, buy and sell. Like, I really would, because whilst there might be some element that I make this look very easy, and then there is an element that it is quite easy for me at points and times. Trust me, how to get here in the amount of time I've done it, you don't want it. You don't want that life. You really don't want that life. Trust me. If I could just plug in to what we got, that would be incredible. That would be something I would be really interested in. So I just want to just skim over another question. I'm seeing a lot of when do I move stop loss to break even? So I move my stop loss to break even based off of market movement, but normally around 80 to 100 pips. Now, it's completely up to you when you move your stop loss to break even. We don't advise that anymore. Unless I'm doing it personally, you won't hear us talk about it. Now, the reason that we don't talk about it unless I'm doing it is because everyone has different risk profiles. And let's say, for example, we kept telling you, oh, move your stop loss to break even now. 9 of them 10 trades are going to go to TP3. And guess what? You're going to blow up support saying, well, you told us to put it at stop loss. Yeah. We are damned as a business if we do or we don't in that situation. So we choose not to because there's just so many different variables. What's really, 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 really important, and the same thing I said at the start of this call, is if you're going to do it every time. If you're not going to do it, don't do it every time. It doesn't matter whether you do or you don't. You find what's comfortable, what works for you, and then you maintain it. Because sometimes you're going to do it, it's going to stop you out at break even and go 600 pips. You're going to be pissed off. Sometimes it's going to come back and hit your stop loss. You're going to be pissed off. So you need to decide which one is emotionally damaging and less productive for you, and stick with it.
That's it. You just got to find what works for you. And again, that's why someone so asked about TP1 on one of my YouTube videos. The reason that we created almost like a TP1 mentality to begin with was because some of you weren't taking profit.
Yeah.
It wasn't that TP1 is the only place to target, but what was happening is it was coming up here, you weren't taking profit, going back to entry, you were re-entering. And it was going yo-yo. You had like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 trades on, and you were like, but it hit stop loss. I'm like, no, it didn't. It slapped TP1 17 times, and you didn't take profit on any of them because you're waiting for the monstrous run to go to TP63. So in this game, trading is psychology based. The reason that this is so hard for so many people is because they cannot get out of their own way. And I say this on every call, they cannot remove their own ego. The quicker you can remove you, the quicker you can remove your own ego. And you just get to a point where being robotic, it's boring as shit. Buy, sell, stop loss, take profit. Buy, sell, stop loss, take profit. Move to break even. Let it run. Take the profits. The quicker you can do that, the quicker you look at your end of the week and you go, fucking hell, I've made some money. Like a lot of you that have been sending print screens into the support channel have gone, wow, finally started to listen. And guess what? Miraculously, the profits start coming in. It's not rocket science. And the quicker you can follow all of this, like Dylan's on the call, like this guy, gone from blowing accounts left, right, and center to making 1,500 quid last week, right? So again, remove you out of the equation as quickly as possible. So yeah, I know we bang on about that on most calls, but
just two more, then we'll pick. So there's one that says if the market moves quick and you enter the zone, the other buy limits as such have already been activated. Are they still activated for you to apply? Yes, if the trade hasn't hit TP2 or stop loss. All of our trades are valid to TP2 or stop loss. There is potentially an elevated risk element to you re-entering again, but I wouldn't tell you the trade was valid if it's not something I wasn't willing to enter myself. The only reason we do not call re-entries is because my zones can be tapped up to, and this is not an exaggeration, the most amount of times I've called a re-entry in the group is 12 times. It's unreasonable. We can't set a precedent that I can call it once or twice or 3 times. We've either got to call it every time or not. Now, I've seen these zones be tapped 6 times, 8 times, 12 times. The group would be unmanageable. It would be unreasonable. People were getting in 12 times. I was calling a re-entry 6, 7 times, and people are in again and again and again and again. The first one's still running. They didn't take anything out of TP1. So it's actually counterproductive. So always remember, it is your choice. But if the trade hasn't hit TP2 or stop loss, all of that range, the whole parameters that I give, everything is valid until stop loss or TP2.
That's it.
Let's look for one more. I think there's been a runner question again, isn't there? Yeah, runners. Let's have a little look at. Well, let me explain how a runner works. So I will tell you what the runner targets are after TP3. So I trade in such a way that at TP3, I will have at least 1.0 running in the market. Me, not you. Do not follow 1.0. You have to use a lot size that's relevant to your account size and your risk management. At TP3, that 1.0 that I still have running, I will close 70% of that position. And that will mean I have a zero point 0.3 left in the market. I will then give us 3 runners targets at least. What I then do is I run a zero point 0.1 to run a target 1, a zero point 0.1 to run a target 2, and a 0.1 to 0.1 to run a target 3. And I move my stop loss to about 100 or 50 to 100 pips, depending on the zones that I'm looking at. Now, once I've set that stop loss and I've set those take profit targets, guess what? I do not intervene whatsoever. Whether it takes 10 days, 8 days, 1 week, whatever, the next day, I do not intervene. When I give you those 3 targets, I am holding that position. Even if it comes back down, if it goes 500 pips up and my target's 550, I don't touch it, which might seem crazy, but this isn't about any individual trade. It's about a system that I've taught myself that I know works massively profitable, massively consistent. And that's why I know it works. And therefore, I trust the system. I don't trust myself. I know what my head will do, what my emotions will tell me to do. Take the money. Take the money. That's what it'll tell me. But then I'll take the money and it goes 700 more pips. So what I've learned now is that the system knows better than I do because it's mechanical. It doesn't have any emotion. So I rely on it. I trust it. I rely on it, and I let it do its job. I've already rinsed the market. I'm at TP3. I've just made 1,200 quid. Most trades for me, if they go to TP3, is like 2 grand. But I don't. Okay, fine. If it goes another 2 grand, great. If it comes back and gives me another 500 quid, also great. I switch off to it. I do not intervene because again, it's not about that individual trade. Or the market then effectively pays me twice either way, but I let it run to TP the runner target 1, 2, and 3 with that percentage. Again, that's all very specific around the lot size, but what might be a good idea to do is just leave a very small position and pick the first one. Then when you get a bit braver, pick the second one, and so on and so on.
That's it. And as your confidence builds, guys, like you'll get to a point where you're comfortable with certain amounts of things because you'll see from again, everything is statistical. You will see statistically that we hit TP1 X amount of percentage of the time. Last week was 92%. So imagine if you just started to think, right, okay, well, I'm comfortable entering the market with X. And I do that for the next week. The following week, I'm comfortable upping that a little bit because I've grown my account, my confidence is built, yada, yada, yada. You might up it a little bit. And over time, in a week, in a month, in 6 months, the lot size that you're trading with right now will be drastically different than what it is right now if you're removing yourself out of the situation. Because I read this chat, when Matthew's going through stuff, and if some of you just open these and just fucking listened, right? You ask the same questions week in, week out. I'm reading the same names. And I'm like, if you just I'm going to start putting to a point where I'm going to read the same names and I'm going to start sending you a PayPal or a Revolut link every week for the time. Because you're here week in, week out asking the same questions. I get it if you don't understand it, but it's almost like you're not processing the information. You're here just for the sake of saying I was on a call. Take the information, listen, apply. Take the information, listen, and apply. Then in a week's time, if you don't understand what you've taken, listened, and applied, then ask a question about like, look, I really don't understand this. Because a lot of you on this call, you're here week in, week out. Am I wrong? You're here week in, week out. You want to learn, you want to make money. So let's remove that aspect of being like, right, what should I do? There's grown ass human beings on this call where you have to eventually take the decision of like, right, I'm comfortable with this because Matthew can show you TP3, run a 66, all you want. But if your arsehole's nibbling at £4.23 minus, it's pointless. you have to get to a point where you're so comfortable with it that you enjoy the journey, you enjoy the losses, you enjoy taking the trades, boom, 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 boom. And eventually you're like, oh, this is easy. I can see why they enjoy doing this because it's boring. Week in, week out, win or lose, yada, yada, yada. But anything else you want to cover, bro, before we jump off?
No, no, maybe. Do you know what? I was just gonna maybe have a little bit of fun. Someone asked me what I think is gonna happen for Asia. Do I want to show that, or
Yeah,
can
if
you
you want
take
to.
2 seconds to let's have a look what I think is gonna happen for Asia?
I
Yeah.
didn't go
Again,
for
I
it.
don't trade predictions. I trade probability. So this is just a bit of fun more than anything. Let me drag over the 4 hour chart. So I still got longs that we were holding. Oh, it's gone too far. Bear with me. Full of technical issues today. Right, so this is the 4 hour chart. So this one is one of the ones that holds the most credibility. We still have not reached 3, 4, 11. We have an unmitigated 50% of this. This is a 4 hour up close. So I imagine what I think might happen is that price should spike up, tap into this, and maybe drop. It'll either do that or it will drop first because we had a lot of buy-in at the end of Friday, a lot of consolidation, which is one of the reasons I tapped out. It would sweep that liquidity and go up. Either way, I think in Asia, this line will be tapped, which is 3, 4, 11, and then we should, if it's going to follow the flow, see a massive move down like this, which is 1,000 pip move. That's what I would envision happening over this week, because we're not bearish until we break this level down here, believe it or not, from a technical point of view. But yeah, my view is we should push up at some point, touch 3, 3, 12, 3, 4, 12, 3, 4, 11, and then
Whatever you do, guys, listening to, I know some of you on this call are reckless. That does not mean go and start stacking cells.
buy big. That's what I'm going to say.
Right.
All equity. Buy all
That's
your
it. That's
equity.
it. 50, I need them 50 to 100 lot trades coming through on
Yeah,
sat.
that would be good. Yeah, blow your account on purpose. Yeah. No, so again, guys, that was just a bit of fun. It's a complete prediction. We do very often get them right, but it's not guaranteed. But my answer to the Asia question is up to around 3, 4, 11, 3, 4, 12, and then a potentially like 1,000 pip move down. If it doesn't do that, then we're going on a bull run.
Love that. I'm in buys, so here we go.
So I think what Bradley meant is don't do what he would do
Yeah,
when he
listen,
said
I'm
don't
I'm
overlay.
stacking it now. I'm putting cells in now before market's even opened. I've
He's
sent the
in the
carrier
pre-market
pigeons.
open auction. He's
Yeah,
moving price. That's why
the
price
carrier
moves.
pigeons en route with the pending orders ready to go. Right, guys, we'll see you on tonight's mindset call, and then Wednesday I might do a little call as well. So yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow evening. Appreciate you all. Hope you had a blessed evening, and let's have a big week. Matthew, appreciate your time again, my friend, and adios.
Take care, everyone. Speak soon.
Bye.